Respect the bonnet. Respect the bonnet. Whew, this thing is choking me. This is one of my newer moo-moos. That's better. Had a little, Asian collar. It's cute. It's cute, Little moo-moo. Hey, y'all. Hey, I am Shar. Remember what he said. Respect the bonnet. Welcome to my channel. Hi, I'm Shar. I'm your recap auntie. Hey, welcome to my channel. Yes, I'm late. Y'all know on the weekends I'll give myself like a day and a half break, just a day and a half. So it is hot. I don't know where y'all are, but I feel like my face can cook like about 3 pieces of pork chop because my face is oily. Ooh, but I'm cute with my red on and just gonna get through these lights because these lights is like just all on my nose and stuff. But you can't see me if the lights ain't on. So hey y'all, welcome to my channel. Hi, I am Shar. And ooh, I looked at the lights too long. I want to see the stars. Girl, don't look at the light, Carol Ann. Don't look at the light, okay? I'm here to talk about episode number 27, of Beyond the Gates. Hi, I am a fan. I love this show. This episode was pretty okay. It was, had its dips and stuff, had some stuff we pretty much kind of figured that was going to happen. But it was cute. It was cute. It wasn't the most major people there, but the people who showed up, they showed up, especially Nicole. Nicole was everywhere. The other episode, Kat was everywhere, her daughter. But every time you turn around, Nicole was everywhere today. So thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for coming. So, Moo review. You know what we do. I have my laptop right here. I normally have like a little table in here, but I'm using that for something else. I'm holding on, y'all. I ain't trying to put on my air conditioning right now, so I got these little fans. Yet holding on, because where I'm at is in the 80s. It's going to dip down into the 60s, so I'm just yet holding on, pretty much. But anyway, we opened with Nicole, and her sexy off the shoulder. She was like, oh, glad to go. I love that top. That top was cute, honey. And she was around there just spraying Febreze. You know how we black people do. We been spraying, honey. I don't know if we spraying because we just did something, to make it smell a certain way. Or, we just wanted to be fresh. I don't know. But she was spraying, honey. Nicole was spraying. So Ted gives her a call since he missed her. And she's sitting on the desk with that one naked shoulder out telling him that for the first time in a long time, she ain't got no appointments today. She needs to check to make sure the hell ain't froze over yet. So he was like, wait a minute, you ain't got no appointments? Maybe you could squeeze me in. I can get between them thighs, baby. So she was like, I kind of sort of don't have any. I'm supposed to be meeting Vanessa at the club today. And then she's supposed to talk to Eva about the plans for the anniversary party. I was like, okay, Eva, they didn't show her today. They showed that she was talking to Nicole, on the phone, but Eva wasn't there. So that he has a consult with some 20-something year old model. I wonder why they didn't show her. They didn't show her. I don't know why they mentioned her, but they didn't show the model that he was talking to. So he has a consult with this girl. So she says, oh, spending time with a younger, beautiful woman. Oh, you poor baby. And he was like, he has to try to convince her that she does not need to have this surgery. So you see a split screen of them talking, and it was really neat. It looked like they were in the same room together. So he asked her if she wants to ditch the party and go to Maui instead. And so she was like, look, this party, the wheels to this party, baby, is already in motion. We can't be canceling. So we hear a knock on the door, and he says, baby, I got to go. So again, we hear the knock on the door from the girl, but we never met her. So, yeah. Dougie and Randy. Randy asked him, how does Dougie find out so much? How does Dougie find so much time to be kicking it at the casino? Remember, I mentioned him in episode 26. I knew for some reason he would pop up today. Remember, I'm not a writer. I just knew he was going to pop up on this episode for some reason. We found out that he has been missing some heart surgeries for the damn casino. He talks little about this new heart machine. Remember, he mentioned it to Vanessa a while back. So he does early morning surgeries, no late night surgeries, which gives him a lot more time at the casino. So Randy asked him, what about those losses? What are you going to do? So Dougie tells him that he has a feeling that he's on a winning streak, and that it's going to change, and it will come back. So Randy tells him, that feeling that you have, don't pay Joey. You need to start paying that man like now with those hefty hospital checks that you be making as a surgeon. Get you an installment plan going on and start paying him like you paying. Like I said it. I put it on pause. I said he need to be paying that man like he paying him layaway. What is that noise? Hold on, y'all. My neighbor decided to cut his damn grass. I've been here for the last 4 or 5 hours. Ain't nobody done nothing. Now all of a sudden you want to cut your grass. Hopefully y'all don't hear him, but if you do, ignore him. I'm going to try to ignore him too. So he's like saying, them feelings that you have, don't pay him. You need to start paying him in installments. So I had pushed the video on pause to write about layaway. And then when I pushed play back, Dougie tells Randy, what's the fun of gambling on layaway? I was like, okay, see, I need to go ahead and hire me as a writer. You know what, Beyond the Gates, go ahead. I'm here. Go ahead and write me. So we see Vanessa arrive at the club, and she sees Randy and Dougie having their coffee, so she don't seem happy to see him. Randy tells Dougie that he gotta go, so I gotta go, baby. So he bounced. So he said, the last thing I need is for Vanessa to be asking me too many damn questions. So he greets her with a bunch of compliments when she shows up at the table, and she tells him that she was meet with a client. He was like, damn, baby, you look especially good today. I mean, do you always dress like this for your clients? And like her dress was like extremely low cut. It was showing her titas, and it was, it was short. And so she tells him that she tried to, skip the subject. I saw Randy haul ass. What was that about? And so he says that, Randy, he gets nervous around you. She says, isn't that condition counterproductive in what he does in his current job? And Doug is like, what does that mean? She's like, oh, come on, Doug. You must know that Randy works for Joey Armstrong. And Dougie gives excuses about Randy. He's doing odd jobs for Joey, nothing illegal or incriminating. So Vanessa tells him that Randy is used to live in that type of world, but you're not. He thinks that Vanessa is showing some concern. So she's like, it's not that deep. Besides, what would a man like Joey need from a cardiac surgeon? And so he looking like, well, a lot. So she tells him to stay clear from Randy. He's like, I hear you. So are you going to take your own advice? I mean, what use does Joey Armstrong have for a realtor? So she refers to him as Mr. Armstrong, she assures him that her relationship with him is squeaky clean, and she's been helping him buy a house for his elderly mother. Ain't nothing illegal about that. And he still seemed to be bothered by her connection with Joey. He claims that he has been through a lot of stress lately. The hospital schedule has been kicking his ass. And so she says, he has been working a lot, babe. I mean, I noticed that. And she tells him that maybe, he should back off some of the surgeries. He is in the operating room like morning, noon, and night. And so he has a flashback of him winning at the casino. Like you can see this big old cheese smile on his face. And he tells her with this slick smile that the situation, baby, I promise you, it won't last for too long. I promise. So while he leaves, he runs into Nicole in the lobby of the country club. So he says that he wasn't paying too much attention, so he apologized. So she asked him if he was okay, and he seemed to be a little anxious. And, he kind of got a little snarky with her. He tells her, take your shrink hat off, bitch. We're just talking here, Nicole. I'm fine. She says, I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you, nigga. I'm just showing some concern for a friend, that's all. So they kind of had a little bit of a moment. He says that after almost knocking her down and clapping back, he truly understands why. He said, I'm sure that that there's no cause for alarm here. So Nicole says that the other day, Vanessa said that you were working a lot, morning, noon, and night. Maybe you should take some time off. So he says, what, doctor's order? She says, well, if I need to prescribe a vacation, then I'd be happy to for you and Vanessa. I know that Vanessa would jump at the chance to have some downtime with you. He says that he really don't know about that. The 2 ships passing in the night has become a routine for them. So Nicole says that she was under the impression that she missed him. He says she does until he is underfoot 24/7. And then he changes it and says, I'm sure that Ted gets on your nerves from time to time. And she's like, baby, we ain't talking about me and my boo. We talking about Vanessa and you. So he's like, so that means yes. And so she was like, if you tell him, then I'll deny that shit. So they chuckle and she says, I need to let you go. I'm taking too much of your time. He says, it's a good reminder that I need to really slow down and really do things a little bit different. And he thanks her and leaves. So she gets a call from Eva. We don't see Eva today. And then back to Vanessa with her low cut dress on with Joey. Joey comes in and he tells her that it's a nice place. It's the country club. He especially likes the view of how she was sitting there. And he has always liked this place, but was denied application. And she kind of teases him like that, she can't imagine why they would deny him. And then out of the blue, he tells her that she looks extremely edible today. And she was like, what? Edible? Okay. She says, but I'm sure she felt, a little bit of dripping of panties from that very unique compliment that he gave. So he apologizes and tells her that he was watching one of those cooking videos. I guess he's a real good cook. And he still has some of those tasty topics on his mind. So she was like, it's okay. I mean, you look quite yummy too. I'm like, girl, I thought y'all was just climbing and customer. What's that about? So they're looking at houses on her iPad. She tells him that she looks forward to meeting his mom. He seems surprised. He was like, you do? And so, he was like, okay. So Nicole comes up and tells Vanessa that she didn't realize that this reservation was for 3. So Vanessa introduces Joey and Nicole, and he says that he's heard a lot about Nicole through her business and her reputation is stellar, like her pops. So Joey asks Nicole, does she know of any colleagues who would like to use a benefactor? And so she was like, well, I'll get your contact information from Vanessa, then I'll have my assistant send you some names. So he tells Nicole that he's read Vernon's book and quoted something from the book and about spreading wealth. And she says, I'll let my father know that he has yet another fan. So I feel that Joey and Vernon, I said in my notes, I feel that Joey and Vernon know each other, just a side note. So he tells Vanessa that he'll be in touch about what they can discuss, and then he leaves. So Nicole says to Vanessa, girl, Joey Armstrong, really? They had a really long conversation today. So Vanessa was like, before you start trashing my client, remember, he did read your pappy's book. So Nicole was like, that was slick. I would give him that. And Vanessa tells Nicole that he is more than that, girl. She just goes through this list of things about how yummy Joey is. Like, he's well-read, he's considerate, he's observant, he's a great cook. She was like, girl, how well have you gotten to know this man? And so Vanessa was like, girl, he's just a client, period. So Nicole is like, I mean, what about his reputation? So Vanessa says, he's innocent until proven guilty. She goes on about how she feels that he's a really sweet guy. And then she calls him Joey. She sounds different. I'm used to her saying Mr. Armstrong. So she tells her that he wants to buy a house for his elderly mom. So Nicole says that he is a charmer, but I'm sure that you admire him more than just his charms. Honey, you want some of them Lucky Charms. So Vanessa claims that she can take him or leave him. And Nicole's like, girl, I watched you drool over that man while he was walking away. And so Nicole was like, it was a nice view. I'm like, what is the it that you were talking about, Vanessa? What it was you looking at? So she breaks down and says, okay, girl, the man is fine. So Nicole was like, and dangerous too. So Vanessa says, girl, I did some research and found out that Joey does walk on the wild side. So Nicole was like, oh, you did your due diligence, huh? So Vanessa claims, I always do research on my clients. So she even watched some of his cooking videos. He has a good recipe for tortellini. So Nicole is like, are you tempted by his tortellini? And Vanessa was like, girl, I'm always tempted. Whether I act in it or not is another story. So it's good to know that she has somebody she can confide in, because Nicole knows that she like to fuck around. She knows that. So Nicole was like, girl, yes, you do stray. And Vanessa was like, just like I know you don't stray. And so Nicole says, still, you are my dearest friend. I always thought that Vanessa and Danny were best friends. When we first started, we showed them, but I'm thinking that Pam is Danny's BFF, not Nicole. So Nicole is like, why are you still in my life? So Vanessa was like, because opposites attract, and you ground me, and I spice up your humdrum life. So Vanessa asked her about what happened. What are the plans that they're going to do for the anniversary? So Nicole says first they were going to have a quiet dinner, Then Ted wanted to go to Maui, but then they decided they're going to have a big party. Does Vanessa approved? And Vanessa was like, girl, yes, whenever I could drink me some champagne, I'm there. So she pours adoration and praise on how happy Ted and Nicole's marriage is, and Nicole can't believe how time has gone by so fast. So Nicole talks briefly about how they met at the Maui Medical Conference. We all know the story from the video, and Vanessa tells Nicole that she felt that way about Dougie at one time. So Nicole is like, girl, Doug had game. Vanessa was like, well, whatever game he had once has long gone. It's ended. Ain't no overtime. The audience has left the bleachers and they've gone to hell home. So Nicole is like, real talk, girl. If you don't love Doug no more, why don't you just make a clean break and leave his ass? So Vanessa tells Nicole she stays with Doug because it's too complicated to have their separate lives. So Nicole's like, girl, your extracurricular activities are anything but complicated. So Vanessa tells her that the hazards that she's facing now will be the same fucking hazards that she would have if she was a divorced woman. So Nicole tells her, girl, I want more for you. So Vanessa loves Doug, but they're not in love anymore, and that's okay. They have an arrangement that works for them both. So Nicole can't even imagine having a marriage like that. The thought of Ted and her having an arrangement that works breaks her heart. So Nicole comes back Nicole comes back from her call with Ted and Vanessa because she was, and I know that she was talking to Ted about picking up some food. And then she tells, she sits back down, tells Vanessa, girl, I know you like a grown-ass woman who likes to take a walk on the wild side, but just remember, there are some walks that you take and there are some walks that take you. I'm worried about this Joey Armstrong. I think he's going to be the latter. So Vanessa claims that she's not interested in doing anything with Joey. However, we know she does. But if she does, Nicole's like, girl, say that to someone who don't know your ass. Joey is fine and charming as hell and his reputation for risky business ventures. You like that shit. I just don't want you to get hurt. She just tells her that she needs to pass on this one. And Vanessa reassures her that she's not going to run off with the man. She's just trying to sell him a house. And so Nicole's like, you sure? And so Vanessa was like, you know me, girl. I'm all about self-preservation. I will take a boring life with Doug over excitement with a dangerous, fine ass, albeit delicious man any day. And Nicole was like, girl, I really want to believe you. So let's skip the main stuff and go down to Ted. Ted, he was going through a memory when he woke up one night and he saw Nicole up late. And Nicole has been worried about this Sherry Carter lady. We know this Leslie, aka Dana. And he asked her, what are you up to, girl? You still thinking about her? She's like, I don't know. She says, a woman who is suicidal after talking to me just for a few minutes feels that she can face and handle all of her problems without any further assistance. She said, that's just strange to me. So he says that maybe she's seeing somebody else. She was like, seeing somebody else. And she was like, no, I've checked with all the people that I recommended and she ain't seeing none of them. And he said, he says, maybe she's doing well. If she don't want no help, then your hands are tied, darling. So she says, I hear you. And his waves, honey, he had some waves today. I was like, you better go in with them waves, Ted. You better do it. So she says she would try not to find her. And he's happy that that's a start for Nicole. Nicole feels that Sherry is a mystery that she just can't crack. He then walks around to the other side of the desk to join her, and he invites her back into the bedroom so that he can give her something far better to think about. And she asks him, is that a promise, hubby? He says, it's a lifetime warranty, wifey, and I guarantee to keep it coming as many times as you're satisfied. I was like, ow! Yes. So Nicole says, I do like the sound of that. And then the dream ends. So Nicole calls him to let him know that Vanessa and her are done with their, their little powwow. And does he want anything to eat? Of course, everybody wants something from Orphy Jeans, especially them damn biscuits. So Nicole arrives home with her biscuits, and they look both cute in their little powder blue tops. He wants to give her some sugar. She's like, I like the sound of that. And they both had a rough day. You know, her talking to Vanessa, him having clients that he had to talk to about whether or not they should do surgery. And, you know, he said he had to turn away one client. So they just go on flirting and flattery with each other. He tells her that she looks stunning and never had any surgery except for getting her teeth clean. And she's like, when I wake up to someone who loves me just the way I am, I don't need no fucking surgery. He says that she is beautiful in the morning. I didn't even love your bonnet. She was like, nigga, no, you don't. That was so cute. He says, I love your hair. And she has given him a whole new respect for proper hair maintenance. She was like, that's right, respect the bonnet. So that's why I did what I did in the beginning. Respect the damn bonnet. So they kiss and she stands up and he's like, that transition was kind of awkward. I didn't like that. They was kissing and then she just stood up like, you know, waiting for him. And then he was like, oh, babe, babe, what's going on? What's wrong? Oh, nothing. I'm just worried about Vanessa and her adventures, honey. You know how she's an adventurous person. And like, apparently they know that Vanessa liked to screw around with different guys. And she thinks that things this time is taking it a little bit too far because she's fucking around or just doing way too much with Joey Armstrong. He was like, oh, really? That nigga? No, she don't definitely need to be fucking around with him. So she tells him that she don't believe that Vanessa don't want to smash Joey. He was like, you right. She says that Vanessa tells her it's perfectly, you know, innocent with friends. That's it. She tells him that Joey is trying to buy a house for his mammy. So Ted is like, what? His mammy for sure? You sure? And so Nicole was like, yeah, why? She said, because Joey's mammy died last year. It's like, oh. I don't know what Nicole's going to do with that information. Then we see Joey and Dougie at the casino. I call him Dougie because he don't like that. I know a lot of y'all like, why you call him Dougie? His name is Doug. I call him Dougie because Joey said that when he was talking to Randy one time, that he called him Dougie, and Randy was like, he don't like to be called that. Ever since we were kids, he just hate to be called Dougie. So I call him Dougie, and I know Joey will too. So at the casino, Joey, comes back to the casino. Of course, Doug is there losing every damn thing. So he calls Doug to the side and asks him how he's doing. And Doug was like, I ain't doing good. And he tells Joey, now, if you're here to offer me more money, I don't need it. He got his own money. He don't need no loan. I think he thought that Joey was going to push more money on him so he could have more money to use for his gambling. And Joey was like, that's good because I wasn't offering you shit. You need to start paying me back what you already owe me. So Doug was like, I know. As soon as I start winning at these tables, I got you. So Joey was like, I hope that's soon for both of our sakes. I was like, ooh. Oh. I knew that was coming. But it was good to see it. And so the climactic storyline that we were here to really see. I knew that the ladies were going to move in the direction that they were, but I just needed to know where there was a loophole. We found out there was one. So Bill and Naomi. Bill and Caroline are at the office having small talk about the women in the case. She tells him that she is just protecting herself. He asks about Mike. He seems to be having some water cooler conversations talking about how innocent he is, and 2 closed doors meetings with some partners. All the conversations are recorded, and the only people who have access to these recordings is Bill. So he has Caroline revise the agreement, the settlement agreement, and to bring out the statute. Apparently, Naomi is on her way, and Caroline asks him if she should greet her at the door, at the front desk. So Naomi shows up. I thought she was unannounced, but no, she showed up this time earlier than her people because they wanted to, talk about this settlement. So he has a meeting with the ladies, and this time, Naomi wasn't late. She arrived before them. She tells him that she can have him censored, suspended indefinitely, or for her personal favorite, disbarred. He calls out some rule 4 point blah blah 6 7 8 9 10 blah blah, which states that an attorney should not speak to any clients without said attorney being present. Bill read up on the statute, the one that Caroline had printed out earlier. He tells her that you can't have him disbarred because it was her own mistake. She said that she was deliberately misinformed. So he tells Naomi, You don't know that I don't handle. You know that I don't handle those things. It was Caroline who scheduled that meeting, didn't you, Caroline?" And she was like looking real stone faced in the background. And then she looks at Naomi and says, he looks at Naomi and says, "If it wasn't your error, then it must have been hers." He was real mean. So Naomi asks Caroline, "Is that true?" So Caroline apologizes for her carelessness about the time conflicts. So Naomi tells her, "No need to apologize. We know that it was not no damn accident. It was deliberate. You were just told to do what you was told to do." So the ladies arrive. When they get there, he immediately asks them, did he at any time tell them that they didn't want their attorney present? And they said, nope, he never did. That they're glad to see that Naomi is there. So Bill is prepared to make them an offer that they won't be able to refuse. How does $100 million sound? It's like, yeah, nigga, yeah, when? Wow. How soon? So Bill, Naomi was like, "Oh my God, girls." She was looking like, "Damn, I wasn't prepared for the fight to be this easy. I wanted to fight in court." That's the look she was giving. So right before the commercial break, you could tell that Bill was like, "Got him." So he tells them to imagine what each of them could do with that money, like cash, travel, start a business. If they want to invest wisely, they might not have to work again. So Caroline is in the background like, "Wait a minute. You give me some of that Kit Kat bar. Shit, I'm doing more than them." So Naomi is like, "That is highly unlikely. $1 million don't buy as much as it used to." So Bill agrees, and he said if they choose to work again, they're all welcome back to the firm with a hefty bonus or hefty raise, of course. And Naomi tries to leave and says, "Wait a minute. There's more to take into this consideration." He was like, "That is not all." He tells them that he does recognize that the workplace needs to be better for their employees, and he could use their help in doing so. So he would like to set up a committee to review their anti-harassment policies, and that they will be that committee, just those three. They will be responsible for letting them know how and where they can improve. Mike Davis will be the first to toe in line and will follow any and all recommendations that they make. They have the zero tolerance policy with respect to inappropriate behavior. So nothing like this will ever happen to them again. So Naomi was like, "Well, no. See?" He said, "So nothing like so nothing like what seems to have happened to y'all will happen." So that's when Naomi was like, no, what you mean seem? It did happen. He said, "Okay, it will never happen to anyone at this firm. Not on my watch." I was like, hashtag Iyanla, go ahead. He was like, we have a deal?" Naomi was like, "I would like to confer with my clients alone." He was like, "Of course, feel free to use my office. Don't worry. There's no hidden microphones or cameras in here." Like I said, Caroline looks really pissed. He will have Caroline bring them some coffee and pastries. Then he asked one of the girls, I think it was Carrie. "Oh, Carrie, do you still like those chocolate chip pastries from Orphe Jean?" She's like, "Yeah, I do." So he acted like it slipped his mind. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I got you." Then he acted like he slipped his mind and took the liberty of drafting up the settlement agreement because he just assumed that they was going to sign it and he could be done. So he acted like it was a convenience for them if they wanted to handle everything today, then they could expedite the money, get their jobs back as soon as possible. Of course, it was subject to Naomi's review. So he and Caroline leave, and Naomi says, "It sounds like good news. Let's look at this closer before we get too excited." So one of the girls is like, "It's too late, girl." And they're already smiling. So they're all seeing it in print and still can't believe their eyes. $1 million. They all repeat they repeat all of the offer in shock, just making sure that they were reading was very true. They are all glad that it's going to be over very soon. So one of the girls says that she's glad that this is all over. She knows exactly what she's going to do with her money. Shoes. She wants to buy a bunch of shoes. I think it was Carrie. So Steffiana says that she hates to admit it, but she does miss her job. And as Naomi is reading it to us, Susan asks her if it's good. Can they call Bill back in the office to collect their money? So there is some suspenseful music. We already know that's bad news. So Naomi is still quietly reading, and they ask her if something wrong. Is something wrong? And how could this be wrong if all of us win all around? So Naomi tells them it would be a good settlement if it was worth the paper that it was fucking written on. And they ask her, what did she find? She tells them that he's throwing $1 million number at you, but there's nowhere in the amount of money that you'll be taking home. So she explains that when you get lump sum checks like that, they have to pay a hell of a lot of taxes. And so they're like, we can make those taxes up and as much more when we get our jobs back because we get those big old raises. So Naomi asked them, do you really want to work in a firm that already fired you once? Because there is nothing in the agreement that will keep Bill from firing you immediately the day after he hires you back. Think about it. No matter how good you are at your job, they can and will find fault. They will gather evidence and find excuses and ways to fire you again in a way that you can't complain about. They tell her that they will be running a committee that will change all of that, the policies, and they'll do right. They'll make sure that everything is done right to the other employees. So Naomi was like, she tells them, what makes you think that they all will want to listen to anything y'all got to say? Also, do you think that Mike Davis will actually change his creepy ass ways? So once you waive your right and not move forward with the case and the firm, you pretty much put your fate back into Bill Hamilton's hands. So we see Bill and Caroline walking back into the lobby. He asks her, did you clock their expressions when he dropped that $1 million offer? So she says, I was stunned. And like he was, like they were. And he was like, what? You read the settlement, you know what was coming. She says, I'm not talking about today. When it first came across her desk, she couldn't believe what he was offering each plaintiff. He tells her that he wants to make this whole thing go away as quickly as possible. She tells him that he needs to repair the rift between him and his daughters, and facing Naomi in court will definitely have the opposite effect. He does admit that maybe that notion was back in the back of his mind when he was considering the settlement, but that it was not his priority. What he was considering how was this harassment and this hostile environment works lawsuit would affect his firm. He would pay a price to preserve his legacy. She was like, for who? He said his daughters. They have to at least have one parent that they could look up to and be proud of. It's definitely not Danny Dupree, her gun waving, golf club swinging, left hook ass. left hook having ass. So she tells him that Naomi definitely takes after him. She came in hot with the law on her side, threatening to have him disbarred. He tells Caroline that she will get a bonus for her gesturing at the meeting, pretty much when she took the blame for the bad timing of the previous meeting. So she's like, it's all in the day's work. And he says, don't have to, well, then I don't have to worry about paying you the bonus, right? She was like, nice try, counselor. You have to pay me double. He's like, well played. So she says a little something she picked up from watching him and Naomi spar when she was in law school. That was just something that she picked up, and Naomi would love to come over to Bill's office and argue cases to sharpening her skills on her lunch break. He says she was a spitfire, and part of him wants to go into court with her just to see how she would do, because I want to go toe to toe with her. But if she don't back up, I ain't going to back down. He would not have mercy on her. He didn't have mercy on her during law school, and he ain't doing it now. So why is my R's just getting all in the way? Tongue, calm the fuck down. So Caroline says that her gut tells her that it won't come to that. She has worked with these ladies for years, and she says, I bet right now Carrie is online buying shoes as we speak. And remember, she mentioned something about shoes. So like he says, it's an offer they can't refuse. So he says they won't, but Naomi just might. Back to the ladies. They say that it all sounded great. So when he explained things to them, he's a lawyer, that's his job. That money would be nice to have, and their jobs back too if they come back. So Naomi was like, that's a big if. How was it like when you guys walked into the office today? They said none of them didn't look at them. Nobody at the office, none of the ladies, nobody spoke to them. So Naomi asked them, how long do you think that it will take them to die down after y'all come back? And Carrie was like, it might take them a long time, since they've been riding high off those hefty paydays, because everybody didn't get the same, money that they're going to be coming back to. So like she said, none of the other support staff will will never see that type of money ever. So they know that they wouldn't even have seen they know that they wouldn't even have that money if they had never seen Mike as a pervert. So Steffiana says no one has to know how much they got. They can make a terms confidential agreement. So Naomi was like, do you really think that they will stay that way? So Carrie was like, it will get out. None of them will blab. And Mike still works there. Carrie says, when they walked in, she said she looked hesitant. They shook their head. So Naomi was like, wait a minute. Did he confront you? Y'all saw Mike, and did he say anything? She's like, nope, he didn't say not one thing. He just stared. They always thought that he was real skeevy. So they never wanted to be alone with him anyway, but now he hates them. Imagine going back in an environment with him every damn day. Hopefully that don't sound confusing. They kept jumping back and forth, so you all get it. They went back to the office to talk. They saw some of their old employees, friends and stuff. They didn't speak to them. Michael was acting all weird and creepy like he always does. That's pretty much it. So Naomi was like, did y'all really think that y'all want to come back to this shit? And y'all just came in today. Do you want to come back to this work environment? Because people ain't going to respect y'all. And they had to really think twice about it. So they were just talking about the money. And despite all of that, they could use all that money to pay off their loan, buy a house, tackle some debt. They might want to take the money, but I think that knowing Bill, he wants them to take all of it. Come back to work, all of that. So Naomi, so they talked about it. So Steffiana asked Naomi, are you telling us to turn down this settlement because it's good for you or it's good for us? So Bill comes back into the office with Caroline and asks the ladies for the signed settlement paperwork. Naomi walks in front of him and rips the paperwork in half in front of him. He's like, what? Naomi hands him the paperwork and says, we'll take our chances in court. So Bill was like, you could have done that without all the damn drama. You just like your mammy. So he was told her that she better get ready to get buried in discovery demand. So Naomi was like, anything you can dish out, I can take that shit. So the ladies lay their papers down on the table and they all leave. So Bill asked Naomi for a word alone, please, in private. After everyone leaves, he asks her, why does she really hate him that much? And Naomi was like, Dad, it's not personal. I mean, when I was little, I grabbed the law books and they were bigger than me. And, it was you is the reason why I am who I am. She tells him, I don't hate you. He was like, I'm glad to hear that. So she tells him that the lawsuit is not an attack on him. She's just being the lawyer that he raised her to be, doing her duty as an attorney to serve her clients. He tries to shade her, talking about to serve her clients to the best of her ability, but by disregarding their settlement. And she tells him that that settlement had full of holes, and he know it. And he tells her that she's been doing this for herself, not for the ladies, indulging in this personal petty vendetta at the expense of the women that you want to represent. You only doing this because you mad that I didn't stay with your mom. I left her. And she was like, Dad, can you blame me? Yes, I love my mom. And yes, you did her wrong. But sleeping with this girl who I consider to be my friend, divorcing and then marrying her, this isn't about you. She keeps saying that. I think it is. It's really, there's an underlyingness that it is about him. So Bill is like, the hell it isn't. You know what? You can't get past your anger at me for leaving your mama. She's like, I swear, Dad, you are the most arrogant, selfish narcissist on the planet. Then he started breathing hard and, doing his hand like this. And he was like, you know what? Enough of this nonsense. You need to listen to me. And the Karen started doing all this shit and waving up and down and, all of that. And oh, shit. I was like, wait a minute, I'm getting dizzy. And he was like, she's like, Dad, what's wrong? He said, my hand is getting numb. And that was the end. So Bill knows that he's trying all these tactics and stuff because he knows that he's not going to win. That's the reason why. Do y'all really believe that his hand is hurting? That he's having a heart attack or a stroke or panic attack? I know that he really wants to save his firm. His firm is very, very important to him. And like I told you, that legacy that he wants to leave ain't got nothing to do with Haley. It's to his daughters. And he feels like because of that legacy, he's the better parent between him and Danny. I'm like, not what you did. That don't make you better. That makes you worse. Yeah. So it was all right. It was all right. I love Ted. Those waves, honey. He was talking some good stuff today. He was talking some real good stuff today. I mean, I can just keep going until you're satisfied. Like, really? That means we could go all night? Yeah. Okay. Y'all know I love him. I heard he's leaving next month, honey. Really? You stopped now that I stopped? Y'all hear that? The whole video. As soon as I said, I'm uploading this. I'm not doing this again. I have a play to go to tonight, so I'm not doing this again. I will do the next episode, and I will have that uploaded tomorrow, which was Friday. So I don't even know what happened on Friday. Don't tell me. Please don't. Okay? And thank y'all for so much for sharing my stuff. I'm getting subscribers. I'm getting commenting. I love it. I love that you guys are enjoying this commentary and this recap of Beyond the Gates. I still haven't done Beauty in Black. Y'all, I need to do it because I heard it was good. I heard it was good. I didn't mean to mention it, but I mentioned it. So don't forget, you got this, right? No matter what's going on in the world, you got this. Your Gaudy auntie, your recap auntie, Shar, is telling you that you got this. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, but we're going to get through it. They're having protests today. So, whatever. Not whatever to the protest, but, I hope that there's some good changes that will be coming our way. I really do. I really do. But anyway, excuse me. Thank you for coming by to my channel, and I will be back in the next video for the next episode of Beyond the Gates. I'll watch that on Sunday, cross my legs, and then I'll upload it. And I don't have nothing to do tomorrow, so, well, do some personal stuff around the house. But other than that, I will be back tomorrow, y'all. Love you. Really, really do. Y'all have a y'all take easy. Why can I not talk today? I just woke up from taking a nap. Y'all take it easy. I know how to talk. I have a degree, y'all. I promise you. My degree is in communications. I can communicate. I promise. I went to HBCU. I can communicate. I'm an actress. I learn lines. I know how to read. I promise you. Okay. Talk to you. Bye.